for you.
That's it.
Thanks for being fans. I'm so appreciative. It really touches my heart. Maybe that's not something that people expect from the Ultimate Warrior character persona, but it really touches my heart how many people still just remember the Ultimate Warrior character in some really unique way, the bond, the connection that he made with his fans. So, at my website, ultimatewarrior.com, over the years I've communicated with hundreds. I mean, I saved them. You know, I have saved the communication I've gotten from people that I've written that were little kids that remembered watching Ultimate Warrior and got something from it that just changed their lives. I can't take any credit for even knowing what the hell I was doing at the time. But I kept paying attention, and after I got out of the business and had my fallouts with Titan and stuff, I went on and I kept building it in a different way in my personal life and my professional life. And if I never had, the fans had never allowed me to creatively make that bond with them in their hearts and their minds, I never would have had those unique experiences. So I never, ever forget it. In fact, we have run over time here because they set it up. And you know, people that have followed my career know that there's millions of mischaracterizations about me. I'm an asshole, I'm hard to deal with, I don't fulfill my obligations. The truth is, the other people don't, and I hold them. I take them to task when they don't. I don't put up with any crap where people don't fulfill their obligations. But I don't have the bigger forums that other people do to get my side of the story out so people make up their own stories and the mischaracterizations that are out there. Even the people that put on this show, and I don't pull my punches with anybody, I don't cut anybody any slack. They set it up for me to sign autographs for 2 hours, thinking that I was going to sign autographs like everybody else. Just keep my head down, my eyes on the table, sign the autograph, not say the hello, not shake hands. And that's just not the way I am. We're running against the clock a little bit because I have to answer to a higher power too, and right now it's my 4-year-old daughter Indiana and my 2-year-old daughter Maddie, and tomorrow's Halloween, and Daddy better be home. So, I think we're going to be able to get all the question and answering that you have or want. I hope so.
Okay, first row. Anybody with a question? Right here.
Hi, what aspirations do you have for your kids?
Well, people that have followed what I'm doing, I changed my name legally in 1993 to just the one name of Warrior. At the time, it didn't have anything to do with trying to go in the back door and get wrestling jobs outside of WWF. It had to do with where I saw my entertainment career was going. I went to California, I talked to some people, and I wanted to do action movies. I just wanted to use my look to do action movies. I was a huge fan of the Conan series. Being in bodybuilding and stuff, I was a huge fan of Arnold when he was up and coming. I'm not much of a fan of his anymore. For a lot of different reasons, you know. I mean, well, I'm not the same person I was back then. But I was interested in doing some stuff in California. I went out there and lived for a while, and I thought, look, if I'm going to get people's attention here and I know exactly what I want to do, then this is what I'm going to do. So I changed my name to the one name of Warrior. And after about 6 months, I just couldn't take the phoniness of it out there anymore. And I said, I don't want to do this. I can do other things in my life. But later, after I went on and I started building my entrepreneurial projects with the Comic Book Project, and with the ultimate goal that I had with that was I wanted to make it an animated movie. I wanted it to have an empowering message. It would be more powerful than The Lion King or all those other animated movies. I just thought Warrior was an idea that could really be something. And I still do, but those things sort of got shelved after I got my lawsuit with Titan. But to get back to what you're asking me, I met a woman that I wanted to spend my life with, and when we decided we were going to get married and have kids, she took Warrior as her last name, and my kids have it as their surname. And I've always been attracted, and I think a lot of people are, there's an attraction and an appeal to traditional time. Historic times. It's like with all the crap that comes out in entertainment when a Braveheart or a Gladiator or something like that comes out. Everybody there's a feeling in your gut, man, that it's real. And so we decided that what we were going to do, even though we live in contemporary times and it's a 24-hour cycle, here today, going tomorrow type of thing, and everybody's in and out of things very quickly and on to the next thing to get the next high, the next rush. We're living a more traditional life. And we're going to teach our kids that their life means something and that it stands for something. And you need to do in your life what will live forever. You need to think about it in bigger terms than just the 60 or 75 or 100 years that you get to live on this planet. And that's the way people used to look at their lives. And they don't do it anymore. So we have a mission statement, we have a coat of arms. Both my girls have a creed. And when they go out and do stuff, I can see them reciting. Like my 4-year-old just learned how to climb trees. And every branch she goes higher, I can see her mouthing her creed. It's so cool. And they're sponges. Kids are sponges. They don't know what's the difference. They don't know that things are hard. You just give them something and they do it. And so my kids are being raised that way to understand, like I believe, that you have the potential to do anything in your life simply because you're a human being. All of us have differences between one another. There's the physical differences, the different colored hair, the different body structures, there's different personal preference differences that we have. You like chicken, I like steak, the different ethnic differences, the different environmental differences. We have different jobs, different family issues and stuff like that. But I think that we should teach little kids from the moment that they're born and we start teaching them their letters and their ABCs, that we should say to them, you're a human being. And just let it sit for a while. And then again, you're a human being. And let them get what that means. It means that you're a different animal than everybody else. You've got a mind. You're born with a brain. And because you're born with a brain, the potential of your mind is unlimited. You can learn anything. You just make the effort and have the discipline. So they're going to be raised. Their philosophy of life is going to be that for a long time. And then when they go out and they face the challenges in life by themselves, they'll be prepared. That's what it means to me in a bigger way.
We got Michael over here from New Jersey. Michael?
I was wondering, in your last match in WCW, you fought Hogan. You left afterwards. Do you have any grudges against him?
No, but that was a great match, wasn't it? I did an interview with that Slammer guy, and he was a real nice guy. I don't know if he's here or not. But I told him, I said, it's ironic that I had my best match and my worst match with the same guy. And he says, what was that quote? And so I repeated it, but he didn't put it in there as a quote. He turned it into, well, the guy told me, the Slammer guy said, I don't like to be confrontational. I like to be, just play it down the middle. So he ended up turning it into something that said, I felt like I had such a bad performance that I decided to retire, and that's not what I said at all. I just said it was a stinker of a match. No, I don't, people will think that I have grudges. Because I'm so outspoken, they turn it into, that I'm bitter. I'm not bitter. I'm not even mad at the McMahons. I wouldn't have the life that I have today. I would not have been able to go out and take on the different challenges that I have in my life if it wasn't for what McMahon and those people did to me. And I'm totally, I recognize all the time that it was a two-way street in the success of the Ultimate Warrior character. The McMahon and the Titan organization, they won't do that. But the truth is that Hogan has an insecurity complex, and they used Ted Turner's checkbook to buy me to come back so he could feel better about having done the job in 1990. And that's, that says a lot about a person. So I was disappointed. I thought when I went back in the first 15 minutes, the interview I did in the ring where I was bringing back some of the new life interest that I had, and this new journey I was on to make Warrior something bigger than just what it was in the wrestling ring, that I thought it was a great springboard to just incredible things. But they didn't see it that way. They were already with, spending the least amount of time they could creatively to develop a show, not planned. And I knew then very shortly afterwards. I mean, one person can only do so much. It takes a whole team of people to make it work. Am I bad? Do you have a grudge, like mad at them? No. I mean, I think it's all kind of funny. All kind of funny.
Okay, this is AJ from Pennsylvania.
In your opinion, what is your favorite match?
Well, the Hogan is at the top, but I had a lot of great matches. That's another mischaracterization. Ultimate Warrior didn't have very many good matches. I think the WrestleMania 7 match with Savage is in the same category as the WrestleMania 6. Working my program, anybody that saw the longer matches that I had with Andre, like the match I had with Andre at the Garden before we did the 30-second thing, was a great match. The cage matches I had with Savage were great. I had great matches with Rick Rude. Somebody said, I mean, a couple of years ago, before WCW went under, they did the wrestling magazine. They did the top 100 wrestlers of all time, and they didn't even put Ultimate Warrior in it. You know what I mean? To me, that just is it just clarifies to me just how great the character was and what kind of impact he had on the business. And you know, in the last year or so, I mean, I've always stood up and defended my character in his career. I've never had a problem with that. In some ways that people don't like at all. It just makes it matter. But I always got along with everybody, and I always get everybody their due credit when they deserved it for the skills that they had. But when they start bashing my career and what I did in the career, then I get, my chest gets a little bit, sticks out a little bit further. And I don't go for that. And, okay, next question.
Todd from Brooklyn.
Hi, pleasure to see you. Two-part question for you. Number one, if the WWE ever asked you to come back, even for an appearance, for a brief stay, would you? And would you think about going into the WWE Hall of Fame and fast back?
I get asked that a lot. I don't sit thinking about the Hall of Fame. I think the Ultimate Warrior character is there. You know, he's already there. He doesn't need to. I don't need a plaque on my wall to know that he's a character that is a Hall of Famer. Thanks a lot, though. I appreciate that.
Okay, this is Brandon from Long Island.
Of all time, I know a lot of exciting moments and stuff like that. What was your most exciting moment ever in WWE, WCW, whatever? What moment did you feel like shocked at or something?
Yeah. Well, I would say my Hogan match. It was a whole different time, you know. Hogan was the guy, and the fact that they were going to do something like that and pass the torch and everything, all the elements that went into making that match a classic, the chemistry, the babyface versus babyface that they hadn't done before, the Warriors versus the Hulkamaniacs, the two-belt thing, the quality of the match. It wasn't a 10-minute match, it was a 30-minute match, and we both used some of the skills that, you know, that's another bad thing that people, you know, they mischaracterize. I mean, you have to know how to wrestle, you have to know, you know, I always make a joke, I never learned how to wrestle. I knew how to entertain people, and I figured that out. I mean, you know, by shaking the ropes, man, when I started doing that at the beginning, everybody at the WWF said, don't do it. It looks bad. Don't do it, and you know, you probably won't be around too much longer if you do it. But I go, okay, yeah. And I go out and I hear them people, I say, screw that shit.
Okay, we got Tim from West Virginia.
All right, Warrior. Anyone that's been following your career for a while knows that you and Sting teamed as the Blade Runners in Memphis, Tennessee. And there was a long rumor going for a while in 1990 in WCW that you were going to make an appearance as the Black Scorpion. Now, what I want to know is, was there talks after Memphis, after you went to WWF and Sting parted ways to the UWF, later NWA, were you guys ever set to team up again during the course of your career?
No. No, I left Watts' territory, Mid-South, and went to Texas, and me and Steve parted ways there. We didn't see each other or talk again until, what year? 91 or 92, I took a trip down there to Atlanta. And I talked to those guys.
But you were going to make an appearance as the Black Scorpion, so I was just wondering about that as well. So.
No, that's just another one of those conspiracy theories.
Okay, JR from Staten Island.
Hey War, how are you?
How are you today?
I'm very good. I have a question. I'd like to know, out of all of the stars in the business, particularly WWE, who would you consider yourself getting in the ring with nowadays?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, well, look, I mean, the truth is I wouldn't come back into the wrestling. I mean, if there was an opportunity to come back, and this is a fantasy thing, then I would definitely, I could still do it for another 5 or 6 years. I know what kind of discipline I have to do things. But I certainly wouldn't come back and be any lesser version of what people expected of Ultimate Warrior. I mean, I wouldn't let the fans of the Ultimate Warrior character down. I'd be a total commitment on my part, and I'd come back and make those guys in the ring now look like they were anemic. I did things to do what I had to do during certain periods of the business where there were rules you had to follow, or you didn't have a job. I mean, the can of worms is pretty much open. I mean, read between the lines. There's a lot of things people do today. I mean, I don't know. I would have liked to have had something going on with Goldberg. Yeah. I mean, when he came on the scene, there was a natural comparison about the intensity. The intensity factor always set Ultimate Warrior apart. And that would have been great. But, they had their heads up their butts over there at WCW. I mean, they were falling apart so much. There was nobody running the show.
Hunter from Connecticut.
Who's the stiffest guy you've ever worked with?
How do you know that? Your dad tell you to ask that?
Yeah, kind of.
Who's the stiffest guy? Well, probably nobody was more stiffer than I was. I like the word stiff. Bruiser Brody was stiff, and it was when I was in Texas. It was Hercules was stiff. Bruiser Brody was stiff in a way that I was new in the business, and I thought that's the way it was supposed to be. We really beat the crap out of one another. But he really tried to put me out of the business a few times. But I was so big and thick at that time and ignorant that he didn't get the job done. But Hercules, other guy. I mean, it's different. It's not like if somebody just come up behind you and cock you. Tapped you on your shoulder and just laid one in on you. You can take a pretty good punch, man, when you're in the middle of the ring and you're all sweaty. You can take a pretty good potato and it doesn't do any chair or anything else. But I like to work snug. I think it's what made the Ultimate Warrior work too. I mean, that's what the business is about.
Mike from Poughkeepsie, New York.
I was just wondering, what was it like to work with Randy Savage and Elizabeth?
Well, I didn't work with Elizabeth. I worked with Randy. Sherry was with Randy when I worked with him. Randy's a great guy. Randy's another guy that's mischaracterized as being a kook. I guess if you're really mischaracterized as being a kook, it probably means that you probably got your head on your shoulders more straight than everybody else. Very intense. And we fed off one another's intensity. I mean, like 2 or 3 hours before a match, we'd be going over the match in the back like we were outside in front of the crowd. I like Randy. And he's a very stand-up guy, too.
Bobby from White Plains.
Yeah, Warrior, I just want to know if you still follow sport in terms of the stars now from WWE, who do you like the most?
I don't watch it. I mean, you can't miss it. Even if I go to Walmart or something, you see the magazine. And I get enough, people send me enough emails. But I haven't watched it. I haven't watched WWF, WWE since 1996, and I haven't watched, last time I watched any wrestling was in 1998, WCW. I go on with my life. I just do other things.
Dave from New York.
Well, since it sounds like you might be done with wrestling, why don't you run for President of the United States?
Hey, Todd from New Jersey.
Okay. What's up, Warrior? I've always wanted to know, ever since I was a little kid, where did you come up with where was it designed, the theme song, when you came into WWF, that guitar riff? Where did that come from?
They do that. They have their own people that do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was a friend or something.
No.
Warrior, I have a bit of a request. Could I possibly get some sort of WrestleMania 6-like promo right now?
Thanks for asking. The guy did it on the radio. I did an interview for this thing. Oh, it was horrible. He said, can you do like a Feel the Power or something like that? After I did it, I said, oh, man.
What's a warrior song?
Okay, Ira.
I was wondering how you felt about those rumors all those years that you had died, or was it another man that was playing your character? How you felt about those rumors?
Well, you know, they were rumors. I mean, I never looked at myself and questioned whether or not I was the guy that did it. You know, I didn't fall for it. I don't know. I mean, the Renegade thing I thought was funny. I really thought that what they were doing was they did that character expecting me to show up and demand to, you know, resume my rightful role as the real character or something. It was all pretty funny to me.
John from Staten Island.
Who did you like fear when you wrestled?
No one. Andre the Giant. Slaughter! Andre the Giant, I mean, you don't fear him, but Andre does what he wants to do.
Donald from New Jersey.
Was Soldier Slaughter your most embarrassing loss in wrestling?
I don't know. Embarrassing. I mean, think of all the goofy stuff I did. I mean, you know, I never really got embarrassed. A lot of people would disagree with you and say Papa Shango was the worst. No, look, you don't get in a position in a business like that unless you won't drop the belt. I mean, it's like everything else creatively. Sometimes your ideas aren't the best and sometimes they're better. You can always make adjustments along the way and fix things as you go along. I thought it was a good thing. I mean, if I had not done that, Randy had not been involved, then I couldn't say that the match between me and Randy is a retirement match. You know, one door closes, another one opens up. You can't, if you're in a business like that and you're working at the pace that you are, you can't really overtake things like that.
Kim from New Jersey.
What were your first thoughts when you were approached about having a classic figure?
Well, I didn't like the first Jack figures that they came out with. I didn't like those. I think a couple people had them, the bone crunching ones.
Yeah.
I didn't like them. And I always was a little upset when they came out with the dolls because what they used to do in the early 90s was they, while you were on the road, they put you in a studio all day and they take pictures of you. You know, profile pictures, back shots. And it's like anything else that gets done in the studio that's never done in one take. It takes like all day. And I always used to think, and then when they started coming out with the figures, I said, why the hell should I spend a whole day in a studio, you taking pictures of my body? I said, all the other guys got muscles and they never even go to the gym. You know? And so, you know, everybody's got the body. That upsets me a little bit. I like the classic figures. I think they look great. And part of my deal was they did a limited edition figure, a 5, a Warrior America figure, and it's just awesome. And it's really cool. It just sold in the collector's market for the most money anybody ever paid for. It just says something else again about Ultimate Warrior as an identity and persona.
Joe.
Hi. You said that when Hulk Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant, what about when you power slammed him, Andre the Giant?
Yeah, that's pretty incredible, huh? I don't remember the first time he told me, but I do remember when he told me at the Garden that night I did it there. You know, I had my head stuck in his armpit. You know, I had him in a bear hug, you know, and the Ultimate Warrior would get him in a bear hug and he'd squeal like a pig, you know, like he was killing him. I could barely even hook my hand. And I had my head stuck in his armpit and he says, "Slam balls," he said. I thought, whoa, man, I don't know. But I went for it and it happened. That was pretty awesome, man. To do something like that, that's pretty impressive stuff.
Okay. Tito?
Hi, Warrior. I want to ask, speaking like you were talking about bodies and stuff, how is your physical regimen like? Are you still intensely into bodybuilding? And if you were a wrestler again, could you still power slam? Or do the gorilla press the same way? Are you still capable physically?
I'm trained to go back into the ring. I need a few months to get back into the ring. My body weight is lighter by about 25 or 30 pounds because I don't, mostly because of the food, eating the kind of food and stuff that you need, the quantity of food you need to eat. and just the attention and dedication you give to your training and stuff, training twice a day and everything. I still train like a maniac. I love training. I always will love training. And I still train like a bodybuilder, bodybuilding style training, but I don't, I'm not doing any competitive bodybuilding. I have other interests in my life. I mean, to do an Ultimate Warrior character, to be in that kind of shape is a full-time job. Between eating and training and rest and stuff, it's probably, and then the rest of the day just thinking about it is 8, 9, 10-hour a day job. And I have other goals in my life, but I have other responsibilities.
Okay, we just have 2 more questions. Michael.
I just want to know about when you faced Triple H at WrestleMania 12 and beat the crap out of him. He wasn't over at all, and he does some complaining about that now. Yeah, I just want to know what you have to say about it.
Look, it was funny. It wasn't anything personal. It's just that what happened was I've been out of the business for 3 years, and Vince had started utilizing great talent themselves. Shawn Michaels and all those guys are great talent. They have their own skills that they offer, they bring to the table. It just so happens that Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan's, Macho Man, those are the people want to see and bought tickets to. They want to see the gimmicks. When I came back, I didn't know Hunter. I didn't know who he was or what he was doing. I wasn't following, I didn't watch any of the TV. But those guys were the B-team players when Hogan and me and Macho Man were there. And not to take anything away from them, it's just the truth. So when I came back, I wasn't going to devalue what the Ultimate Warrior character was just to try to fit in. Would I over time? Yeah, and I did. That was the plan. But the thing to do when I came back in '96 was to make a statement. Just saying Ultimate Warrior, the Ultimate Warrior, the Ultimate Warrior that you remember is back. And he's not in the same league as Hunter now playing Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart and all those guys. And it's kind of funny because he wanted to do more stuff. And I told him what we were going to do. I said, no, you're going to give me your finish. I'm going to kick you out. We're going to go home. It's a story, that will be in my book one day. But he went and got Jerry Briscoe. They came in the locker room and went in the bath in the shower room. That's when you guys would go to the shower room to get privacy to talk about their matches and stuff. And Jerry Briscoe proceeds to tell me what he obviously wanted to tell me. So I put my hand up to Jerry Briscoe. I looked at Hunter and I said, if you ever have anything you want to talk to me about, you come to me and you talk to me about it face to face, man to man. And I said, we're done here. And probably in some ways, to be truthful, that probably, because I know how something like that would have affected me. It probably would have been a burn in my butt to say, we'll see. And he's come in an incredible way. I don't know what kind of person he is personally. But the guy's definitely going places in the business. Yeah, I mean, he backed up the Brinks truck.
Okay, this is Jerry from New Jersey.
How you doing? Well, we all just want to basically know, where does Warrior go from here? What's the future hold? Any kind of books coming out, DVDs, anything going on, or what? I mean, I want to see that Andre match again. When you body slammed him, man, that was great.
Well, we just started revamping my website. I've been talking about that for a long time. Being a father takes up a lot of my time, but I have over the last couple of years, I've built a speaking career. Going out to schools, using what I used to do to get young people's attention, and then talk about how power in your life comes from using your mind, not your muscles. That's the simple message. The bigger message is I go out and I work with Ronald Reagan's Foundation and Young America's Foundation. You can find out more about them through the internet. There are organizations that work with 800 college campuses with young groups of kids on those campuses that are active in, they're thinking about more than just partying in school. They're thinking about world ideas already. And the next step of that is that I go out and talk about where we are in the country, philosophically and politically and stuff. So I built a career doing that, and that keeps me really busy. I've been working on my book forever. I don't want somebody else to ghostwrite it, but I also just don't want to do an ABC storytelling of my career year by year, month by month. A lot of that is going to be in there, a lot of great stories nobody's ever heard before, but I also want to write about how having that career, that unique career, has made me the man I am today and has made me look at life the way I do today, from a mentoring perspective. Typically when I go out to a college campus, there'll be 15, 20, or 30 people part of the group. The rest of the place fills up with kids that were 10-year-old wrestling fans, Ultimate Warrior fans. And my responsibility from having had, this is why I'm so critical of some other people that don't grow up. My responsibility is to go out and positively and effectively mentor young people. Use my life experiences to do that. It's not to go out and be friends with these people and just continue to rehash and over memories of Ultimate Warrior. That's a great chapter of my life, but you know, once you have kids and you look at outside your front door and you see what's going on in the world, it's important to understand that you have a responsibility for young people. I mean, I'm 45 years old. I'm not 20 years old. I don't need to act like a 20-year-old. And that's the way my life has taken me. So that's what I'm doing. I'm building that career to do those kind of things. My website has just been a presence forever and ever. There's probably about 700 to 1,000 pages of writings there. And, you know, if anything else, you would be funnily entertained if you go there and read what I write. I mean, I don't pull any punches about anything. And I draw a real hard moral line about behavior, and but not in a prudish sense. Just that I'm sick and tired of people whining and complaining about how difficult life is, or finding themselves in a difficult spot and then they just sit in their pile of crap and they don't get on with doing what they need to do to make their life work. I don't have any sympathy for people like that. I don't want my kids growing up in a world that's filled with people that think and believe like that. Ultimate Warrior was a character. What I did in the ring, it gives me the ability to go out and get in people's face and talk about bigger ideas just as intensely. And I know that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I know all my experiences that I've had, even when I was a little kid and I was scared of my own shadow. Yeah, I used to create, you know, fantasy characters in my mind to give me my confidence, you know, and stuff like that. The experiences I had as a young man, the experiences I had in bodybuilding, the experiences I had creating and evolving a character like Ultimate Warrior, and then later on having the fallouts I did with Vince McMahon, and when everybody else that worked for the company is basically like, you know, how much further do I have to bend over? I'll just take it because it's so good. I said, no, this doesn't really fit right. This doesn't work very well. It would have been easy just to said, you know, stuck with the game and taken the money and the fame and just had my head filled with the celebrity and said, yeah, this is what life, that's not what life's about. So I did the harder thing. And it's not always easy, you know, but maybe that's what makes it so good. I appreciate that everybody came out.
We want to thank you, Warrior. I know this group loves you. Thank you very much for having me stay here.